Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we look at the latest comics and other media featuring the Transformers. In this episode, we review Void Rivals number 6, as the first story arc of the Energon Universe concludes. Today is Friday, December 1st, 2023, and this is episode 366 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that'll build you up for 5 episodes, leading you into believing the 6 will have some sort of resolution. But I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
How's it going, everybody? Do I have to finish?
This is the impasse.
Let's talk Transformers.
As always, we start the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you all so much for continuing to help out the show. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to become a Donatron, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, and that's where you can sign up. Of course, you get some bonus perks. You get bonus content. You get can watch us record the show live. You get entered into all our contests automatically, and lots of good stuff. Speaking of bonus content, we've got our bonus show, We Like Big Bots, episodes all on our Patreon page. 10 episodes from season 1, with that starring Daryl and Dr. Pants, talking about all the big bots in their collection. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get some new Big Bots episodes sometime soon. So send that mail to Daryl at transmissionspodcast.com, and he'll get right on that. Also, we've got our Transformers live play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust, and that we have season 1 and 2 available on our feed at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. Currently, we have a side adventure going on called the Rustford Files. Just recently released episode 5, A Rockwork Orange, and next week will be episode 6. So that is continuing. There'll be a few more episodes of the Rustford Files before we get back into season 3 of Empire of Rust. And you should enjoy those. This little side adventure is it's the same cast of players, but they're all playing new characters. And Mike is a player, not the game master. So it's a very different feel to the adventure, and it's fun. So check that out. Of course, we are still selling our exclusive Transformers number 1 cover with art by E.J. Sue. This is from Skybound's new Transformers series. You can pick that up at our website at transmissionspodcast.com/comic. So definitely check that out and get those while we have them available. And lastly, before we get into our review, of course, our friends at Toy Hacks have provided us with a new code for the month of December. So if you are still looking to get some Toy Hacks labels for your Transformers, or maybe get some labels for a loved one or friend, you can use our code to get 15% off your order at toyhacks.com. That code is Santa Prime. So very relevant code for this time of year. So enjoy. And take advantage of that and get your discount, help out the show, and help out yourself. All right, well, we're doing a comic review in this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, so let's get right into it. All right, so we are reviewing Void Rivals number 6, and this is the last issue of the first story arc of Void Rivals. Of course, Void Rivals kicked off the Energon Universe earlier this year and has been featuring some notable Transformers references and cameos. So we are going to talk about the conclusion of this first story arc and maybe speculate on what it might mean for future stories in the Energon universe. So, Void Rivals number 6 is written by Robert Kirkman, artist Lorenzo De Felici, colorist Matthias Lopez, letterer Russ Wooten, editors Sean Makowitz and Jonathan Manning, logo and publication Andre Suarez, and production Jillian Crabb. So there's several covers. We're not going to talk about the covers. There's too many covers to go over for all these Skybound comics. But you can see, if you're watching the video, you can see cover A here, and the main characters, Derek and Celila, are refugees on the run after escaping from their confinement on Zertonia. And so they are trying to make their way through a hostile environment as this comic goes on. So let's talk about the story. In her cell, Celila contemplates her fate as she holds the key given to her by Mistress Vil. Suddenly, the door to her cell opens. She quickly conceals the key in one of her belt pouches as a new figure approaches her. It's Canella, the rebel leader who rescued Derek earlier. She's wearing blast trooper armor and has a second uniform for Celila to escape in. Celila and Canella are not friends, so Celila is surprised that she's helping her escape. Canella doesn't offer any explanations and just tells her to get moving and keep quiet. Meanwhile, on Quintessa, the Skuxoid has taken out the combined Zertonian and Agorian ship for inspection by the Quintesson judge. The Quintesson is intrigued, and the five faces have a conversation. The Quintesson is vague, but it sounds like Zertonia has a connection to another Quintesson from eons ago. They take possession of the ship for further analysis with the goal of finding Zertonia and uncovering revelations that could shock the Quintesson civilization to its core. Back on Zertonia, Canella got Celila out without incident and brought her back to the rebel cell. Celila is surprised to find Derek there, waiting for her since he instigated her rescue. Derek welcomes her with the comment that she would have done the same for him. Celila tells him she wouldn't, and Derek's enthusiasm takes a hit since she's not as appreciative as he would have liked. Anyway, Canella has a plan to get Derek and Celila transport off-world to Agoria. She needs them to make contact with their counterpart Agorian revolutionaries and reestablish a communication link with a data packet. Celila has nowhere else to go, so she agrees. Derek is of course happy to leave Zertonia and return to his home world. The rebels get ready to move out. They're going to get Derek and Celila to a transport ship, hopefully quickly and quietly. But their escape has been detected. Premier Zalalak has mobilized the Zertonian military to be on high alert to find them. Derek and Celila take off their armor to hopefully blend in with the crowd. Derek puts on a bandage over his forehead to hide the different shaped Agorian gem, so he hopefully just looks like another anonymous citizen. For a time, the disguises work, and the group makes its way through the city without trouble. Derek sees the suffering of the poor people since supplies and resources have grown scarce. Celila comments that this is why she always focused on serving her homeworld and betrayed him when they escaped earlier. Finally, they make it to where the starship is docked. Canilla says they have clearance to pass the checkpoint and starts to move. But the jig is up. The guards immediately tell them to halt. Canella doesn't understand how they were discovered, and the kid Ultim tells her it was him. The guards promise to find his mother if he gave up the rebels. He apologizes, and Canilla forgives him, but it's too late. But not for Celila. She tells Canella she and Derek will deliver the data packet to the Agorians, and she'll give the rebels a distraction so they can escape. She throws her spear to knock out the guard's spotlight. In the darkness, Celila and Derek commandeer a slip rider cycle. Handroid hacks it, and Derek steers so they can make a quick escape. The Zertonian guards turn all their focus on chasing Derek and Celila. Drone ships follow close behind, firing laser blasts in their wake. While Derek handles the driving, Celilla uses her weapon to take out the drones. But they're not clear yet. Celilla tells Derek to dump their vehicles since the Zertonians can track it, so they have to keep running on foot. They manage to disappear into the transit system and take a train north to the outskirts of Zertonian civilization. But it's not far enough. After they get off the train, they are quickly spotted by more guards and forced to keep running. Celilla protests that they're going too far north into the wastelands, but Derek says this is the only way to complete their mission. He asks if he trusts him, and she hesitates but says yes. The guards report back to Premier Zalalak that it's over. The fugitives escaped into the wasteland, but no one has ever survived there. Zalalak isn't convinced. They already underestimated them once, and he won't do it again. There's only one option left. They need a hunter who will track them down and ensure their demise. It's the only way to avoid the Agorian and Zertonian reunification and avert the coming of Goliant. They must revive Proximus. To be continued. Okay, that was the end of the first story arc of Void Rivals. I gotta say, this didn't really hit very hard for me. This was kind of a bit of a letdown for this last story arc. I was hoping we were going to see a little bit tighter. Like I thought we were building up to something with the Quintessons and tying into like what was going on with the Void Rivals. We still do get some hints of that, but not really anything like any kind of shocking revelation. I mean, it sounds like maybe the Zerta figure, who is their like deity on Zertonia, maybe that was originally a Quintesson. I mean, that's my guess, but we're still not left with not really much revelation there. I mean, maybe that'll be something in the future. We'll see. Also, with Derek and Celilla, they kind of are left hanging here. They're left on a cliffhanger. They go into the wastelands, and will they get it out? Will they get off the planet? I guess we'll see. I mean, I was expecting kind of a little bit more of a like. I mean, I know it's an ongoing story. This is not the end of the series. But for a 6-issue story arc, you try to have kind of a complete story, and this didn't feel like a complete story in the end here. I do still like the artwork. I think it was like the Lorenzo Di Felici does a good job rendering the cityscape of on Zertonia. The human characters look really good. The couple of pages of Quintessons were kind of just okay for me. I didn't like the Quintesson
was
faces.
a little bit worse on those pages.
Yeah. So, but I mean, this was not I mean, and also like I'm not really sure what like at the end of the story where we see the head Zertonian guy saying we got to revive Proximus. I'm like, is that supposed to mean something to us? I mean, it's kind of like, okay, am I supposed to feel fear or emotion about the name Proximus? I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you really wanted to like make that feel like a shocking conclusion, you need to give us a little more information about what Proximus is. Is that another like Quintesson? Is there a Quintesson named Proximus that will is somehow been in suspended animation on Zertonia for years or something? I don't know. So yeah, I mean, overall, it's the comic is fine. I mean, it's well written. It's mostly enjoyable, but this was, not a really great conclusion for this story arc. So, at least that was my opinion. Daryl, what did you think?
Well, I agree with you on a lot of those points. I feel as though if the very end, if Proxima or Proximus was a known Transformers character, Like, let's say it said, we got to revive Six Shot. I would have been like, holy shit. All right. now we've got some stakes here, right?
Mhm.
So we know the character that they're coming for, right? Who the hell is Proximus? I don't care who Proximus is. Are they a threat? No idea. Are they sympathetic to Cybertronians? I don't know. Who cares, right? I could give two shits about Proximus at this point. But if you're writing this for the Energon universe, knowing that your current audience is Transformers fans and a bunch of people that have jumped on because they're Kirkman fans, give somebody that's reading this a known Transformer the name, or the title bad guy here at the end, especially if you're going to leave it for 3 or 4 months, right? So if you're going to come into it in March, be like, all right, oh, I forgot what really happened at the end of that, but I know they've got Six Shot coming, right?
Or do you a twist and say like Omega Supreme, a bot that traditionally is kind of in hibernation or
Right.
whatever, and you wouldn't expect him to ally with these people.
Yeah. So that's, and I feel as though anything else that was kind of mediocre through the book, if they had ended on that kind of a stinger, it would have forgiven everything for me. But the fact that it was just such a letdown at the end, because I knew that they were building to this reveal at the end, you could tell that this was coming, and then they just let out this Proximus name. I'm like, oh man, I don't care about this, right? And now I'm waiting till March to find out what's next. I don't care what's next at this point. I don't know anything about it. I'm going to read it because I have to, right? But I'm not excited about issue 7.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with this book at this point.
Yeah, this is I mean, like if I can compare this to like the other two series I'm familiar with Robert Kirkman are Invincible and Walking Dead. And I believe both of those, like if you read the first story arcs of both of those comics, there is a like shocking reveal at the end of both of those issues, and this did not compare to that, unfortunately. So I don't know. Jeremy, what were your thoughts?
I mean, much the same. I like when we were talking before the show, and I was like, I read this last week and had no recollections really outside of the quintessence scene, and that's kind of the impression it left on me, which is sad because I've been enjoying the book up until now. Another thing that neither of you really touched on was this coming of Goliath, which what is that? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that would be what happens when the two rings are joined together. And it's, I don't know, I'm guessing it has something to do with the black hole that it's around. And until we know more, I'm going to assume that Goliath is Gobotron.
Yeah, actually, the wiki helped me out there because I looked at the wiki description, and they mentioned that was in issue 2 of Void Rivals when Derek had his like vision or whatever. In that vision, it mentioned Goliath, that Goliath was coming, and that was something bad. So we still have no idea what Goliath is, but that is a callback to issue 2. But I mean, it's like it's you know, if you're reading these issues months apart, you kind of don't remember that. Like like I didn't remember Goliath.
Me neither.
The wiki had to remind me. So
yeah, I mean, I did remember that the rings there's like a black hole between them or something.
Yeah,
but there's just so many little breadcrumbs teasing a greater future, but we haven't gotten enough resolutions to some of these storylines that, you know, like I said, it's not very satisfying at this point. So I'm hoping that they're able to regain the momentum they had when they restart in March. But at this point, that, you know, it's kind of a sad ending to this first arc. Because I mean, I'm enjoying the characters. I like, you know, the main characters and the Handroid. I think that's a
Mhm.
great invention, but yeah, it's just kind of fizzled here.
Yep. Oh well. I mean, but I mean, I guess fortunately they have runway. I mean, like it's
Hmm.
Robert Kirkman and Skybound and Image are willing to, you know, push out the series with this, like, with this whole new Energon universe and everything. So they've got space to. I mean, and of course with the strong sales of the
Yeah.
first few issues,
When the boss is
they've got
working on it.
yeah. So they've got room to continue it. I mean, so it's not going to live or die based on this one comic, but I'm hopeful that when we get to issue 7, and hopefully the letters page mentions that they were taking these months off for issue 7 in March, so that the other books have a chance to catch up. So maybe that means we'll see some actual crossover with the other books um, in the future, and maybe that
Mhm.
means like a little bit more, like making it feel a little bit more like this is tied in with the rest of their Energon universe. So I, we'll see. But I mean, that's going to be hard because I mean they're out in the Sacred Ring and Agoria and Zertonia. What need do they have to involve Earth in any of this, where all the other books are all set on Earth? So I don't know.
I mean, maybe there's going to be some tie-in with whatever's going on Cybertron at this time.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe Straxus.
Straxus is always welcome. All right. Well, that is our review of Void Rivals number 6. And so that's that's all for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. This is our one of our review episodes where we just focus on the comic review and get in, get out. So thanks everyone for watching and listening. As always, at the end of every Transmissions episode, we give a shout out to our masterpiece donatrons. These are the folks who continue to support the show at our highest level on Patreon. So that's why we give them a mention in every episode. So thank you once again to John, Forex Levingood, and Demon Tech 82. You guys rock. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Let us know. Maybe you give us some feedback as to what you thought of Void Rivals. Maybe if you have thoughts on the overall series in general and this last issue in the first story arc. Is this making you excited for future Void Rival stories, or are you kind of scratching your head like we are? So let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll talk about it in the future. So thanks everyone for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.